Hello, everybody. This is Hondo Carpenter, your Las Vegas Raiders beat writer on SI and the host of the Las Vegas Raiders Insider Podcast. Joined as I am from time to time by my beautiful bride and much better half, Shannon, who you people, it was when we were in Cabo. We were in Cabo and we ran into some Raider fans and they said, you should have Shannon on the podcast. And Shannon's like, I'm not a football person. They go, but you're a Raider fan. And we said, well, how would we get her on there? And the Raider fans asked you to come on to read their questions. Thought that was such a great idea. So when we do Q&A, she comes on only to read your questions. So it's good to have you, Shannon. Let's get right to it. Big ball game tomorrow.
Yes, sir.
First preseason game. Let's go before I jump on an airplane.
All right. Hondo, from what you have seen up to this point in camp, what do you believe will be the offense's and defense's biggest strength and weakness? Not necessarily position groups, but the unit as a whole. Thanks from Andrew B. in Alabama.
Great question, Andrew. First question. The first thing I'd say is on offense, it's going to be biggest strength is going to be Geno Smith. And I don't think he is a top 9 quarterback, but I have seen people who I greatly respect who have him anywhere from 10 to 15, and I think that's a fair range. I could make an argument for 10, and I've heard people make that argument, and I agreed with them. I've heard people make the argument at 15, and I do agree with those people as well. So anywhere in that 10 to 15 range, I'm fine with. And when you have a top half quarterback in the NFL, that's a big deal, whether it's throwing Trey Tucker open. You know, we all know what Zamir and Sincere can do when they're healthy and in the proper scheme. So I think Ashton's going to have a massive year. But you lose in Ashton with a Chip Kelly calling plays and an improved offensive line, I still think you're going to be okay. You still have Bowers. You still have Jacoby. You still have, Michael Mayer. You still have Trey Tucker. You got so many guys. I think the biggest strength on offense is going to be Geno Smith, and because quarterback's the most important position on the team. I think the strongest position group and on the defense is going to be that defensive line. Mm-hmm. You may remember the New York G-Men, led by Antonio Pierce, went into the Super Bowl against a Patriots team that everybody thought was the best football team of all time and beat them with a 4-man rush. And a down line of 4 guys that are able to get pressure on the quarterback covers a multitude of sins, because now all of a sudden the offense has 5 offensive linemen minimum and a quarterback, 6 guys. So now you got 7 covering 4. And so if you think you're going to be weak at corner, you got 7 guys covering 4. And that team, that New York Giant team, really showed that. So I think the defensive line is going to be the strength of this team. Weaknesses is the same on both. I don't think the Raiders are deep. And where they do have some depth, it's youthful, and youthful makes youthful mistakes. Dexter's 3 years old, our son Dexter, and he's going through the why stages now, where he'll say, Daddy, why you buy Dexter chicken nuggets? And I'll say, because you like them. Why? Because you think they taste good. Why? Because it's how you trained your taste buds. Why? Because God gave you taste buds. Why? Because he loves you and wants you to eat so you can stay healthy. Why? And am I wrong?
No.
And today his older brother Shane was just like, I'll pay you any amount of money. Just don't ask me why one more time today. It was hilarious. And so kids act like kids. If you don't like the why stage, don't have kids, because you're going to hit it somewhere. You're going to hit it in the 3s and sometimes in the late 2s, sometimes in the early 3s, but somewhere in that range, you're going to hit it's just part of it. Young players make young player mistakes. And so, although I think there's some really good young players in this team, I think depth is an issue with the Raiders. It's why I don't think that they get to 10 wins. And if they do, it's going to be because another team gets decimated by injury and they stay unusually healthy. But they're not a playoff running team. I just don't see it, because those teams have depth. And so those are the 2 biggest issues. But that's a great question. Thank you for asking.
All right, next is from Kenny M. Hey, Hondo, you have expressed a lot of excitement about the current Raiders receivers. I realize the game has not been played yet, but from what you have seen and know about other teams, how would you compare this receiving corps to other top receiving corps? I'm trying to not get too excited.
I love how you say corpse, because it's core. And
I always have said that my whole
I
life.
know you have. That's why I'm laughing. That's why I said I love how you say it. You always have.
That's actually hilarious.
Anyways, that's the check in you.
Maybe.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Anyways, so first of all, I wouldn't say that I'm excited. I'm not a fan. I'm encouraged. I think it's a very good group. It's very deep, but it's very young. Young players make young mistakes. And some of y'all are judging these kids and you have short-term memory. You think that Brock Bowers is the rule. Brock Bowers is not even an exception. He's like your statistical chances of hitting the Powerball. I mean, he's a unicorn. And you just have to understand, do I think that the Raiders are very talented? I do. But outside of Jacoby, every one of those receivers has something to prove. And do I think they're talented? I sure do. Do I think they're good? Yeah. Do I think you can come back here in 2 years and maybe find the Raiders with the best wide receiver core in the entire NFL? I do. Do I think they probably have the best young? Yes, but you only have one proven guy there. So am I excited? No, I'm greatly encouraged. I think if you're a Raider, you should be excited. But those guys are going to, and so what happens is preseason or whatever, you hear people like me reporting about good news, and people instantly assume Brock Bowers. And so you can't assume that. That is not reality. I think you should be encouraged. I think it's going to be better. I think it's going to be good. But I would not use the word excited because there's going to be young player mistakes. There you go.
All right. My name is Erin Gonzalez in Las Cruces, New Mexico. I have a question for you.
Wait a minute. New Mexico. Christmas. Every restaurant you go to in New Mexico has red sauce or green sauce. And if you want both, you say Christmas. Anytime I talk to anybody from New Mexico, I always make it clear I'm a Christmas guy. And if you ever met people from New Mexico, that's almost every conversation. Are you a red guy? Are you a green guy? Are you a Christmas guy? So anytime I talk to someone,
That's hilarious.
Christmas.
I have a question for you.
We're actually going to go to New Mexico later this year and visit some friends after the season. So I'll be eating plenty of Christmas. All right, let's go now. I'm sorry.
Now that training camp is underway, how do coaches, or Pete Carroll in specific, handle wanting the players to practice fast and physical, all the while ensuring that players don't get hurt and potentially cost themselves their season, like Malcolm Kuntz last year?
Well, first of all, you can't. Football is a physical sport.
Right.
And if you play not to get hurt, you're almost certainly going to get hurt. That's just the reality of the game. And so, there are some things you do. So, for example, if it's not a tackling drill, you tell guys, don't go to the ground. I'm not going to name the player and I'm not going to name the coach. But I remember one particular time a young player it's okay. You can play footsie with me anytime you want. A young player went to the ground in a blocking drill. And this coach came over and ripped them like I have never heard a human being get ripped. And talked about, do you think that you're so important that you can risk one of our high-priced players? Wow. He goes, you're of no value to this team right now. And you're on the field with several guys we're paying millions of dollars to. And, matter of fact, I think his exact words, we have guys on here who in a month make more money in interest than you make in your entire salary. He goes, if you ever go to the ground again in a non-game situation or a non-tackling game thing, you're out. I mean, so you do those things. You make it very clear to players that don't go to the ground, meaning stay up on your feet, those types of things. But you can't not play this game. This is why the joint practices are so vital. And looking forward to that next week. I am so fired up about San Francisco coming into Vegas for those practices. I just love watching joint practices. Joint practices are a million times more valuable than the preseason game. But anyways, it's 6 to 1, half dozen. You have to be extremely careful, but you also can't live in fear.
For sure.
And you just have to play this game, and you just have to trust that, I'll never forget one time watching a team warming up. And there was, warming up, literally stretching. And the guy jumps up from stretching and jumps up on the ball, on the toes, on his tippy toes, and stretches and snaps an Achilles.
Yeah.
And when it's going to happen, it's going to happen. And you just can't live in fear of it. Football is a game. It's why you hear me talk about, I don't think the Raiders are a long playoff team. Because you and I were at dinner with a very famous NFL person, and this was years ago, and he said to Shannon and I, the best teams don't win the Super Bowl. It's the deepest and the healthiest. And this is a guy that has Super Bowl rings. And he just told us, he goes, there are teams that I had that were better than my Super Bowl team that didn't get there because we had injuries.
For sure.
Remember that? He was, he goes, when I looked at him, I go, better?
Makes sense.
He looked at me like I was an idiot. And Shannon's like, I thought you made him mad. But that is the truth. And so that is why you have to build teams assuming injury. I'll give you a quick example. Every general manager whose office I've been in, and I've been in a lot, they have this huge board in their office, and it's usually covered. And what it is at every position, they have a plan. What happens if this guy gets injured? And they have all the free agents that are available that they've brought in or they've talked to on the phone, what the cost is, guys they know they can go get in trade. So anytime there's an injury, every coach and GM, not necessarily all the coaches, but the GMs have their plan already in place. That's why a guy gets injured and bam, there's guys in here tomorrow. And so you can't live in fear of it. You have to be cautious. That's why you hear me say Max Crosby, Brock Bowers, Jacoby Myers. There are several players on this team, Isaiah Palomao, Jeremy Chin, who don't need to play tomorrow night. Don't play them. It is a meaningless preseason game. You got a lot of players in this team, like Landon Roberts. I have him do one series. And the only reason I'm having him do one is for everyone he has to play with to learn his voice. Not his voice like I know your voice.
Right.
But his voice, how is he going to call plays? How is he going to direct when the heat's on? I don't even want Devin White to hit the field and play. I don't want Colton Miller to play. I can go down the line. I don't want Geno. And you got to be cautious. Mm-hmm. And I want to see them all play in the joint practices, but not in this game. But because there's always some moron on the other team trying to make the team who's trying so hard. But anyways, that's a great question, but you have to really temper your expectations. So good. Thank you, Shannon.
Yeah. Okay. So this next one is actually 3. 2 is in. It's 3 questions.
Wait. How did it?
I don't know. I thought it was 4, but it sounds like 2 is.
Somebody's gonna get in trouble. Go ahead.
All right. Hey, Hondo, I have a feeling the answer is going to be no worries, but we're getting reports of JPJ running with the 2s at practice. Is this something to be concerned about, or is this Pete running everyone, everywhere, just mixing things up?
How is that 3 questions?
I haven't read the other 2. I'm letting you answer one at a time.
No worries. All right, listen, JPJ is a great football player. Okay? It is hard for me to fathom a world that he's not a starting IOL on this team, interior offensive line. But if somebody beats him out, it's not because JPJ is playing bad. It's because somebody else is playing better. Okay, so if Aiden O'Connell were to play better than Geno Smith, and I think Geno's the best quarterback on this team right now, that's not a slam on Geno. That just means Aiden stepped it up. Listen, I think Max Crosby is the best defensive player in the NFL, and a top 4 player, maybe 5 in the entire NFL. So if Charles Snowden just pours it on big and pushes Max to the second string, that means Malcolm Coots and Charles Snowden just played their minds out. That's not a slam on him. Sometimes you just get beat by a better guy and you're playing well.
Yeah.
So anyways, I mean, think about this. Barry Sanders had to sit behind Thurman Thomas. Okay. And that coach just didn't let the younger player compete, or Barry would have beat him. And Thurman, you owe Barry a steak dinner because you ended up having a great career because your college coach didn't play Barry Sanders. That's not how it works here. Everybody plays. So you know what? They're running everybody everywhere. But I have trouble believing that when the season starts in New England, and I'm so excited to head to New England for some clam chowder, a lobster roll, some clam strips, and football. Anyways, I have a really hard time believing that JPJ won't be in that starting line. I could see it, but I have a hard time believing it. So no worries.
All right. Next question from him. We are hearing reports that Tyree is bulking up. Does he appear bigger?
All right. First time Shannon met Tyree. Now she's a nurse. And remember, we have Marissa, Travis, Sandra, Sage. We've got Sage. We've got 4 of our 8 children
I don't know what you're saying.
who are older than Tyree. Okay? So there's always a pervert in the audience. That's not how I mean it. But she looked at his body and she literally said, "You have 0% body fat." I mean, he looks like granite where the skin is, I mean, like he's in, what are those pants that you wear that are super tight?
Leggings?
Yeah. He looks like God took skin, like tight like a legging, and just pulled it over his granite body. And she was looking at, what was it? You were looking at.
I said sub-Q. I'm like, where would I give this guy a sub-Q shot at? He's all muscle.
Now you have to understand she's a nurse. So what that means is like when she gives people a shot, she grabs your fat.
It's called tissue. It's not that on everybody.
Okay.
He doesn't have it.
He has none. Is that subcutaneous?
Yes. Good job.
Anyways, and she's like, I couldn't even give him a subcutaneous shot. And so I don't know where you're getting this that he's bulked up.
Not any bigger.
No. He just still looks like chiseled granite, and he's a wonderful kid. He's just a peach of a human being. I just genuinely really care for him as a person. And but no, he's not bulked. All right, is there another?
All right, yes. His last question, what is your opinion on Wilson breaking out?
Well, again, when the Raiders picked him, I was told by management at the time, and I said it right after the draft, this is a redshirt year for him.
Mhm.
He has a major injury. He's not even going to be healthy this year. They had zero. Their plan for him his rookie year was to basically redshirt like college. And so last year would have been his first year, and this would have only been his second. Do I think he's going to have a better year this year than last year? I do. Last year, he let, I think it was 7, may have been 5, but 5 or 7 sacks on the field where his technique wasn't good. Well, he's learning. Remember we talked about young players?
Mhm.
Remember, when he was in college, he was the biggest, fastest, strongest guy in the field and overpowered everybody. Welcome to the NFL, where everybody's good. And so, do I think I think he's going to be better this year than last year, but I look to next year being his great breakout year. But I am a buyer on Tyree. I love his work ethic. I'll give you one example. So I was talking to him the other day at training camp practice, and just talking about how really this is his second year when you look at the first year as a redshirt, which management told him. And he goes, yeah, but I've got the expectations. I expect more out of me. I love that.
Mhm.
In an era where everyone's looking to shift blame or shift accountability, he's taken it. I just love that. So I think he's going to have a better year than last year, and I think next year is going to be his money year. He is going to shine. Okay.
Awesome. Hello, Hendo. I've really enjoyed all the training camp coverage from you and Zeke. It's been phenomenal. Thank you. Zeke's amazing.
We
We
love
him.
Zeke and his beautiful bride, Jasmine.
He does a
my
great
assistant.
job.
He's my co-beat writer, and boy, he's great, isn't he?
Yes. I love hearing about which players are standing out and showing promise as the season gets underway. I know it's still early, but I'd love to hear your take based on what you've seen and heard so far during training camp and OTAs on which players need to quote unquote step it up. Who has been underwhelming so far and really needs to start stacking some good practices and reps together? Thank
Mhm.
you for always telling it like it is. Stephen Rockwall in Texas.
Well, Stephen, I can tell you a couple things. Um, Jacorian was struggling, and about 8 or 9 days ago, I had called you and told you that I had heard that there was a chance he was going to get traded. Um, I wouldn't say that he was playing bad. I think other people were playing better, and it made him expendable. Um, I think Sam Webb needs to do more. I'll give you an example. Tommy Mellett and Cam Miller, two kids coming from the FCS level. Tommy Mellett is not only coming from FCS, he's changing positions. And I know that they really like him. They think he can be a Julian Edelman, but that is a huge transition. Now, I projected him to make the 53-man roster before training camp. And because I know how high they are on him, even though that is a very difficult process. And he has yet to flash, but he's not disappointing. I mean, there are some kids at 3 years old who know how to read. Dexter's not one of them. I'm not disappointed in him.
No.
But, and so I'm not disappointed in Tommy Mellon. But if he was going to make the 53, he's a guy that needs to start flashing because Dylan Labe is. And I thought he'd beat Dylan Labe out. Number one. Cam Miller has looked really good based on expectations. But he's going from being an FCS quarterback to an NFL quarterback. That is a monumental jump. I had a NFL general manager one time tell me, or maybe it was a coach, but he said to me, the jump from college, from high school to college, and talking about college is like a Big Ten, SEC, a Power 5 school, is about the same as college to the NFL. But he said anything lower than BCS, it is much bigger to go from college to the NFL. And so these are guys, not guys that have to step it up, but they're guys that certainly, if they're going to make the 53 this year, there needs to be more. And so that is how I would verbiage it with you. Overall, I think it's been a very good camp. I think some guys are being outplayed a little bit, not a little bit, some of them being outplayed a lot. And I mean, like JT Woods and what that kid has done at safety. Look at Alex Bachman, what he's done at safety. Kadir Ismail at tight end is playing tremendously well, but so is Carter Runyon. I mean, there are a lot of guys that other guys are just stepping up. Dylan Parham has had an amazing camp. Again, there are some rookies that you want to see, but they're rookies. They're just rookies, and you got to give guys grace there. So again, I would come back and say to you that I haven't seen Michael Barrett as much as I wanted to see, the linebacker. I think there's more in him. I think there's a lot more in him. I think some other linebackers have had better camps. I don't think Michael Barrett's had a bad camp. I just think some other guys have had a better camp. So this has been a really unique camp in that way. But there you go. Thanks for the question.
All right. Hello, Uncle Hondo. I am not sure if this will reach you, but I wanted to write this story to say thank you. Last week, I was watching your podcast and you mentioned the open practice on this past Saturday. My family and I had the greatest weekend, all thanks to you for the idea. We live in Phoenix, Arizona, and it is about a 4-hour drive for us. I was able to take my son, wife, mother, and father. It was our first trip together as a family, as my son is 7 months old. You impacted my life and gave me a weekend I will never forget. Thank you for all that you do for the nation. You help make my heart so full. I included some pictures of us from the game, passing Raider Nation along to the next generation. Sincerely, Alex Rodriguez.
Now, you saw those pictures.
Yeah, that was really,
What
really
a
cool.
beautiful family you got, Alex. And the picture I loved the most was him, his son, and his dad.
Awesome.
That is so cool. Just spreading that down. And like you and me, you're a guy married out of your league. Your wife is beautiful. Congratulations. I know what that's like to marry out of your league. But I thought that was so very, very cool. I loved it. I want you to do me a favor. Email me and send me your phone number. I'm going to be in Phoenix in a couple weeks. Shannon and I are both going to be in Phoenix. Email me in a couple weeks. I got a surprise for you. Thank you, though. And you don't have to thank me. Thank you. If you guys don't read, watch, listen, I don't have a job. You know, a couple weeks ago, I put a tweet out. I do this a few times a year. And I was leaving the facility, and I just put, thank you for the privilege of being your beat writer. We don't take that for granted.
No.
We appreciate you all. And, you know, we pray for you guys every day, and we're thankful for you. And you guys are the absolute best fan base in the entire world. I mean that. That's
accurate.
That's not hyperbole. I really believed it, and I still do. And but we appreciate you. You don't have to thank us for talking about it. Thank you. Every day when you read, watch, listen, you know, I'm not entitled to you going to our website. I got to earn it, and I appreciate you for it.
Okay, Hondo, were you shocked by the Chikorian Bennett trade? You alluded to a trade and even mentioned CB. Mike K.
No, you're right. I did mention it, and I had told you 8 or 9 days before that I had heard it. Other people were just playing really well, and there was value in Jacorian. He played really good at times last year, and I want to help me pick my words wisely here because he's a good kid. It was nothing that he was a bad kid, nothing. Just some other people were playing, and he wasn't necessarily having a great camp, and so they had a chance to move him and get value. And that's the name of this game. It is a business.
Right.
This is why I say to you, don't be angry when a player leaves in free agency. It's a business. It's a business. And just like it was a business for the Raiders. Bye. And that's just the nature of the game of pro football. Remember, everybody in pro football is getting paid except the most important person, the fan.
Mm.
And the fan is paying the rest of us. And so I see why fans get angry when people approach it like a business.
That makes sense.
Because they don't.
Mm-hmm.
I remember I had a friend one time who was blind. Well, I guess still a friend, and a person came to him and said, "When you're blind, what does red look like?" And he's like, "I don't know.
That's weird.
I'm blind." And so when you expect fans to not be angry when it's a business, you're being foolish. Because it's not a business to them. Guess what? To Shannon and I, when our 3-year-old is doing something, we think it's adorable. When your 3-year-old does it, we probably think it's annoying. Okay, because we're parents. We look at Dexter differently.
That's a really good example.
Okay, and so you can't get mad at fans for saying this is my paradigm. This is how I see the game. It cost me $1,000 to bring my family of 4 to a game.
Yeah.
Okay, well, the popcorn guy's getting paid.
Mm-hmm.
The ticket taker's getting paid. I'm getting paid. The trainers are getting paid. The refs are getting paid. Coaches getting paid. Players getting paid. Owners getting paid.
Right.
The media's getting paid. That's why you guys and gals are so incredibly valuable. So, I had a hunch it was coming because I got tipped, not because I'm smart. I was a little bit surprised at how it went down, but not surprised that it went down. All right, next one.
Okay, Hondo, will any more come out on Christian Wilkins' situation? And do you think the Raiders pay some or all of the salary?
So let me say this to you. I hope no more comes out. What is there to gain? And you may say, well, maybe you don't know everything. Okay, you can think whatever you want. There's no more to gain. I think there is a better chance that the Raiders have to pay some than that they have to pay none. Depending on how far this goes, I could see a scenario where the Raiders don't have to pay. I could see a scenario where they have to pay everything. But I just believe in talking to people around the league and others that the Raiders are going to have to pay something. But again, I think there's a better chance they have to pay all than none. But I still think there's a chance they pay none. But again, I think they end up paying a certain amount. That's my personal belief. And I hope no more comes out. Let's just put it behind us and move on. I'm not TMZ. I'm not National Enquirer. And that's just not how I operate. And it's not how we operate on SI. And we're about the game. We're about the, obviously there are times you have to report things because but he's not playing for the Raiders anymore. He's not playing for anybody right now. There's nothing that now, if some of it comes out, yep, we'll report on it. But I just don't think it's necessary. It's my personal belief, and I hope it doesn't because it could hurt. It could just be hurtful, and I don't want to see anybody get hurt. I don't want anyone to get feelings hurt or whatever. I don't thrive in that. So I just hope it doesn't, and I hope the situation gets resolved.
For sure. All right, Hondo, Zamir or Sincere, who wins RB3 from Mike?
Well, the other day I told you Zamir was ahead. Then literally the next practice I said Sincere was ahead. There is 3 games and joint practices left. So this is probably going to change 15 times. But if I had to guess today, Zamir's ahead. And we'll just say, if I had to guess today, Zamir's ahead. But I think that is such a fluid battle. That's a great question. And if you ask me every day, you'd maybe get a different
answer.
Yeah. That's how tight it is, though.
That's fun, though.
It is fun. And they're both such great kids. And I know they're not. We have children older than both of them. And Zamir and Sincere are just 2 precious young men. And I know Sincere and just really like him, but I'm close to Zamir. And, we're horse guys, we're country guys, we just giggle. I mean, him and I were joking the other day after the scrimmage about the mule, Delmar DJ Glaze. And, we just, and so, but I like them both. Someone said to me one time, do you ever personally, even though you'd never say it in media, root for people? Yeah, if there's a guy I really like and a guy I don't, I certainly want to see the people that I respect. I literally don't have a dog in this fight. They're both great kids, just great kids. And I think it's that close. Great. And you know what? If I was Mark Davis or Tom Brady or John Spytek or Pete Carroll and I'm sitting there, I don't care who wins it. The Raiders win with either one. They're good kids.
Okay, Hondo. Since their last playoff run, the Raiders have cycled through GMs, scouting departments, and head coaches.
Boy, that's the truth, isn't it?
With the frequency some people change their underwear. Each new regime brings its
I want to say something.
Philosophy.
As parents of 5 sons.
Funny. As each new regime brings its own philosophy, and we've seen Pro Bowl players like Alec Ingold let go simply because they didn't fit. In terms of roster decisions, like the recent trade of a player who was a starter under Patrick Graham last season, how much weight do the opinions of position coaches and coordinators carry? Is their input a driving factor or more of a formality? Christopher L.
Read that last sentence again.
Is their input a driving
factor? Is whose input?
Position coaches and coordinators. Or is it more of a formality?
No, their opinion matters. So let's go back to the Alec Ingold. I know that there was tremendous regret. So I was very critical of they let Alec Ingold go and brought in Jakob, and I love Jakob. Great guy. Not as good as Alec, and it really was a lot of frustration. It was Josh McDaniels wanting to bring in a Patriot who knew his system. There's nothing wrong with that. Pete Carroll's brought some guys in who know his system. Geno Smith. But remember I talked about, and Bill Polian talked about on this podcast, you have to know your locker room. Okay, I know after years of being married to Shannon, there are some things that make you more spirited than others. All right. I love to help Shannon, and I think she appreciates that I love to help her. But when I do laundry, it is not a help. It stresses you completely out. She'll say to me, honey, I love you. I appreciate you that you want to help me. I beg you don't do laundry. And so I had to learn a very difficult lesson because I ruined my favorite pair of pants that she had. And I ruined them. But my heart was in the right place, but it still didn't work. And so what happened is they bring in Jakob because they're thinking, oh, it's just a fullback. And they didn't know how popular Alec was. And Alec was beloved in that locker room. And so I talked about it being a very critical mistake by them, to which at a later point, members of the team's leadership who were involved in that decision told me they agreed that they misread it and they thought my criticism was very fair. In fact, they brought it up to me.
Wow, that's good.
And said, I just want to tell you, I really appreciated how you wrote that you thought we were wrong, and I thought you were fair in how you wrote it. And if you want to know the truth, looking back, I agree with you. And so there are some regimes where the general manager just makes a decision, or who's ever in charge. And over the last 20 years, a lot of times it's been the coach and not the GM. Then there are some guys that understand there is wise counsel in many voices. And a multitude of counselors, there's wisdom. And so they want to go to the position coach. What do you really think? I'll never forget one time. I think it was Bill Polian. It may have, no, you know what? I think it was Ron Wolf. May have been Ted Thompson now that I think about it. I don't know. But no, it was Marv Levy. I'm trying to remember who it was that talked about why don't you bring in the people that have to work with these guys every day? Remember Bill Parcells said, if you want me to cook dinner, let me buy groceries. Mm-hmm. And so, and Marv talked about, he knew what he thought, but he wanted to get input from his staff because they're the ones whose job's on the line. And so some people really believe in, let's get all the information. Some people are egomaniacs. And some people just think they're the smartest person in the room. And they'll make moves and not think about their locker room. So it really depends on the regime. So specifically related to Pete Carroll and John Spytek, they're talking to everybody. They want everybody's wisdom. Hey, am I missing something? John Spytek, by the way, John, go green. I'll remember to tell you about that later. And he's a Wolverine and a great guy, so I'm just picking on him. And I'm a Spartan, so I'm always going to tell him go green. He's always going to tell me go blue. But John Spytek, one of his biggest attributes is he's not an egomaniac. He's not afraid to admit what he doesn't know. Same with Pete Carroll. They want the people they hire to have a voice. And so the Raiders are talking to everybody and trying to assimilate information. And that's why it's just being done right now. And I'll tell you, Tom Telesco was that way. Tom Telesco did a tremendous job. He wanted to listen. Dave Ziegler as much as he could, was a listener. I don't necessarily think Josh McDaniels was. And I love Josh. It's not a slam on him. I think he's a great coordinator, not a good head coach. But the best people are those that aren't afraid to make a decision and follow their gut, but they don't follow their gut till they get all the information they can get. That is one thing you do as a nurse that I really admire you for, is you're constantly assessing everything. You're very analytical, and you want all the information you can get. And I think it's why you're so successful at it. And I think that's really a trait for anybody. If you're going to be successful at something, the moment you think you're the smartest man in the room, you probably need to know you're probably the biggest moron. So listen, listen, listen. I heard it said one time, and I'll never forget this. Matt Millen said it. There's a reason God gave you one mouth and 2 ears. And Matt has said a lot of smart things, but I told him then, I go, wow. You have to understand, we love Matt. But the funniest thing Matt ever said to Shannon first time he met her is, why do you like this guy?
Are you sure you want to do this?
Are you sure you want to marry him? But and be with him? But anyways, I'm just telling you that there's a reason. 2 ears, 1 mouth, listen. And Pete and John do. And to this credit, I'm going to give credit here. So does Tom Brady. Tom Brady is, now it doesn't mean he doesn't have opinions. I remember a member of the Raider organization one time, I asked, what's it like dealing with Tom Brady? And he said, Tom knows exactly what he wants. And I go, oh, is that hard? And he goes, no, because if you disagree with him, he wants you to speak up. But you better know why you want that, because he knows why he wants it. And he's willing to argue with you. So if you don't come, if you come with a cap gun, he's coming with a AR-15. And so anyways, that told me a lot.
Yeah,
A lot about Tom Brady. So I think that's where the organization is right
now. All right. Hondo, I want to commend you for taking the initiative to improve your health and for showing the daily discipline and dedication it takes to stay on course.
Oh, wait a minute. This should be a
It's
da 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 da. We are now to the part of the podcast where when Shannon comes on, we'll read a couple of non-football emails. So if you don't want to hear anything about it, has nothing to do with non-football, don't bitch, don't moan, complain. Just turn the podcast off right now. But if you guys send in, we take a couple of 1 or 2 non-football emails a week. So go on. We got 3. That's too many. We need to make sure that we tell them never more than 2. Go ahead.
How have you accomplished this goal? What does your daily eating plan look like that has helped you lose weight and keep it off? As a man in my 60s, I would love to know the secret behind your successful weight loss journey. Keep up the great work. May God bless you and your family. And as always, go Raiders. Wayne in Texas.
Wayne, I've lost 214 pounds, not had surgery. Now, in the interest of fair disclosure, if surgery is how you're going to lose weight, great, have it. I don't mean that arrogantly. I'm just a pretty disciplined person. Would you agree with that?
Absolutely.
And I was introduced by a friend of mine. He's actually a pastor who gave me a book. We were somewhere on vacation together, and he gave me a book called The Dr. Atkins Diet Revolution, and it fundamentally changed my life. Didn't change my life that day, but it did down the road. And so I follow the Dr. Atkins diet very strict. I don't go above 10 carbs. One thing I can tell you is when you hear people say, "Oh, Thursdays is my cheat day." Well, if you're planning to cheat, then health isn't your priority. I mean, we have a good marriage and we don't get cheat days. You better not. Although it'd be easier for you than me because you're the pretty one. But my point is, I don't have those. I don't like, oh, I'm going to plan a cheat day. Don't do that. And because
you only cheat your family.
You cheat your family and you cheat yourself. Mm-hmm. I remember one time there was a guy who was dying. He goes, "Oh, if my doctor knew I was eating this, he'd be mad." No, he wouldn't. How many doctors are in our family and are we friends with?
Yeah.
They don't care. They don't care.
For sure.
And it's not that they're hard-hearted, but they have a ton of patience. When they leave work, they can't take that home with them.
Right.
So if you don't want to take care of yourself, okay, boy, that's sad. But okay. And so just don't cheat yourself. And more importantly, don't cheat your family. And don't cheat. Just be disciplined.
Hondo and Shannon, I'm so excited, but I don't have a dad and would love some advice. I have a chance to triple my income, but I would have to go to Saudi Arabia for 3 years and leave my family here. Any advice, Keith?
Well, he asked.
Buckle up.
Buckle up, Buttercup. I'm going to tell you this one. God called you to be a dad and a husband. And how are you going to do that when you're gone for 3 years?
Mm-hmm.
How are you going to do that? How are you going to do that? How? And your children need you. Your wife needs you. And a long time ago, my dad taught this to all of his sons. You need to work hard to provide for the people that you love. But don't chase bucks. Don't chase money. Chase bucks when you're hunting, but don't chase money. And I would say to you, if they came to me and offered me I had to go to Saudi Arabia for 3 years, but triple my income. No, wouldn't even be an issue with me. And you know what? Maybe you have to get a second job. But there is value in the children being around mom and dad. There's value in those children seeing you. They need their daddy. Your wife needs you.
Sure.
You need your wife. You need your children. I can tell you this right now. I believe Shannon is not dependent like she couldn't live without me, because she could. But I think Shannon needs me in her life. And I need you.
Mm-hmm.
That's the beauty of a great marriage, is you need each other.
Your teammates.
Yeah. And so I don't even like to be away from you for 30 minutes or 3 minutes or 3 hours or 3 days or 3 weeks. And so 3 years? So, brother, you want my advice? My advice is, if you need another job, find another job. Obviously, you were good enough to get this off. But if it's going to require you now, if you're a soldier going off to fight a war, that's a life and death situation.
Mm-hmm.
That's a whole different ballgame. But if it's just going over there to chase bucks,
if you're chasing money, it could be at the cost of losing your family, and that's not worth it.
It's not worth it. It's not worth it. All right.
Yeah.
All right. Is that it?
Yeah, one more.
Oh.
Uncle Hondo and Aunt Shannon, we just found out we are pregnant for our first child, and it is a little boy.
Hey, good one.
We are so excited. My wife and I both come from broken homes with addiction issues. We both met in rehab and are clean and healthy, and we first bonded at rehab 6 years ago and are both Raider fans.
How awesome is that?
We love you both on the show and love your love of each other and family. As soon as we found out, we thought we would email for any advice. We don't need this to be read on air, but we would love your advice. Carlos and Lupe.
Awesome, Carlos and Lupe. We just had some friends of ours. He's a pastor, Pastor Carlos, and his beautiful wife, Kelly, that just had a baby yesterday.
Mm-hmm.
Rosa. Beautiful baby, Rosa. Sweet little girl. Let me just say this to you, Carlos and Lupe. There are two things. Number one, pick a good name. Now, let me just tell you this. So Dexter's our youngest child, and in our family, you name the firstborn son is named after the father. So my dad's name is Robert. He was the baby. So he wasn't Robert Jr., but he had my older brother, Bob Jr., who then had a son, Bob the third, who then had a son, Bob the four. I call him B4. Okay, so there's 4 Roberts in our family. So, and I already have a Hondo, and my name is Hondo Shane. So I literally have a Hondo Jr. and a Shane, who we got to spend the day with. That was so fun. And so when we were trying to think of a name of Dexter, because we're taught that a name is more valuable than riches.
Mm-hmm.
So we thought, how do we do this? He may not have our chromosomes and he may not have our color. Who cares?
Mm-hmm.
He's our son.
Exactly.
And so when we thought about it, we prayed about it. We named, so my great grandfather's name is Dexter.
Mm-hmm.
And then my grandfather's name is Ernest. And my father's middle name, because I couldn't name him Robert, there's already a Robert, is Wayne. So we named him Dexter Ernest Wayne. So number one is absolutely positively give them a good name,
Mm-hmm.
a name with meaning. We have a friend who is a very successful member in the NFL who calls Dexter the law firm. Every time I'll put a picture on social media or Facebook or whatever, he'll just say, the law firm is growing up. And I said one time, what do you mean? He goes, Dexter Ernest Wayne Carpenter. Because it sounds like, thank you for calling the law office. This is Dexter Ernest Wayne Carpenter. Anyway, Dexter Ernest Wayne and Carpenter. But anyways,
That's hilarious.
I know, and he's such a funny guy, isn't he? But anyways, so but the second one is love his mama. Now, I know sometimes there's divorces. And you know what though? I don't care what your ex-spouse ever did to you, and I know that you guys are married. I'm not saying you're not, but I'm talking about to people who are divorced. I don't care what they did. I don't care how bad it was. That's still half of your child. So when you talk bad about a parent to a child, another parent, you're talking bad about half of them.
Mm.
And if you're married, give your child the security of knowing my dad loves mommy. My dad loves mommy. We never disagree in front of our children, ever. Just won't do it. Now, it doesn't mean we haven't had some doozy disagreements when they left the room. Or her come up to me and whisper in my ear, and I'm thinking she's whispering sweet nothings, and she's like, I would like to talk with you and address a matter in the bedroom, please. And it's not I'd like to address a matter in the bedroom in a good way. No. But, and so love their mom. Love their mom. Give them that security and love their mom. Do you have anything?
I would say for sure too, since you guys are both coming out of a situation, a family, is to first of all be super grateful that you have a chance to reverse the curse, not rehearse the curse. And so holding each other accountable to give each other or to give this sweet little baby and any future children you might have stability, saying, my parents came out of this and my grandparents because I was that important to them.
Mm-hmm.
Super, super important because I'm sure both of you can look back and think about memories that you can take away from your childhood that you think I don't want for my children. And secondly, a thing that took me a while to learn, Lupe, is let your boy be a boy. When you have girls, girls are so much different than boys. I personally think that boys are much easier. Girls are emotional and there's a lot of drama with girls, and it's not really that way with boys. Let him be a boy.
Let him
No matter what.
Yeah.
No matter what it is, you might be like, oh my goodness. Well, you know what? That's what boys do. Dexter does things that the girls didn't do. Boys just do things that girls don't do, and we'll leave it right there. And you're gonna find out soon enough what those things are. But it's okay. It is absolutely okay because they're wired a little bit differently than us. And when he doesn't want to color and he has a 20-second attention span, that's okay too. Let him go on to the next thing.
Just let him go. Let him go. And 1 minute, he's acting like Superman. The next moment, he's Tyrannosaurus Rex.
That's right.
The other day, he was running around the house playing Superman, and the next day, he's coming out growling. I said, Superman doesn't growl. He goes, pterodactyl. Dactyl.
He
And he was
knows
trying
the
to
names
say,
of his dinosaurs.
he was
and
trying to
just
say
turned 3.
pterodactyl.
Just turned 3. Yeah.
Pterodactyl. And
He's-
then I go, what? And I go, what's your name, pterodactyl? Toothless. I said, do you mean a dragon? Yeah, dragon now. So he went from Superman to a dinosaur to a dragon in about 8 seconds. But yeah, just do that. And last thing I tell you is be a good forgiver.
yeah.
Be a good forgiver. Let your children see you give forgiveness and ask for it.
Oh, for sure.
Let them see it. And listen, we want to send you a book, the greatest book outside of the Bible I've ever read in my life. It's by a great psychologist by the name of John Eldridge. It's called Wild at Heart. It is the best book other than the Bible I've ever read in my life. Lupe, it's going to help you understand every man in your life, from your baby boy to your dad to any coworkers if you work outside the home. Any man in your life, it's going to help you understand them. And Carlos, it's going to help you understand you, your son, your dad, and every man in your life. I recommend this book to every single person, and we're going to send you a copy. So get me your address, and I already emailed you, but so check your email. But I need your address. We want to send you a copy free of charge from us. We give away so many copies of this
Great book.
I mean, matter of fact, I think we're down to one copy, and we just bought a case not that far long ago, and we're down back again to one. I mean, it's a phenomenal book, and it's a great book. And when you understand what makes your son tick, it's fun. It's fun, and it's fun, and so you'll love it. I appreciate it. Thanks everybody for listening today. Got to catch a plane to Seattle, and then don't forget post game podcast coming at you from Seattle. God bless you, everybody.